Hear ye, the dishonorable Judge Joleen is here and court is in session. You guys, we got a lot to talk about regarding karenread post-verdict, and a lot of people are talking. All right, we got the McAlberts talking, we got Proctor talking, we got jury members talking. So grab a beverage. Hopefully you're wearing something very comfy. Smash that like on your way in and let's get started.
Jen! Because I had like bread and maybe peanut butter in my car.
Why did you have bread and peanut butter in your car?
I had my niece for the week, and I was dragging her like to all my kids' sporting events. So we'd go from like one game to another game to a practice. So sometimes instead of always giving her McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, I'd try to throw her a peanut butter sandwich.
And they were making fun of you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what the hell?
Sometimes instead of always giving her McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Judge Joleen, the dishonorable me. Court is now in session. Boom, boom. Welcome. Smash that like on your way in. Happy Friday, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about post-verdict karenread news. It seems like everybody's talking. What we do over here is we take a comedic look, okay, at it. We roast, we recap, we react. We try to bring levity to law. We don't always, succeed, but we try. All right. So smash that like, hit that subscribe. If you want to support the channel further, you're always welcome to send a super chat while we're live here. You can join my membership on either YouTube or Patreon, or you can hit me up on the Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. Everything is in the description, and I'm sure one of my wonderful mods will drop the links if you are interested in that. I also apologize because my eyes are, again, killing me. My allergies are killing me. So if I turn off the camera at all while we're live, it's only because I want to scratch my eyeballs out. But other than that, everything is fantastic. So I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Okay. So since we were last here, karenread has been acquitted of the murder of John O'Keefe. All right. The only thing she was found guilty on is the OUI, and she was sentenced to 1 year probation. And there was celebration in the streets for those of us who believe that this investigation in this case was just cuckoo bananas crazy, and definitely some corrupt stuff going on at this Albert's party on January 28th into January 29th, 2022.
Sounds like a pretty disgusting party to me.
It does, Judy. One I don't want to go to. Okay. So everything I say is alleged for entertainment purposes only. All right. However, everything I say is true except for the parts that are false. So don't sue me.
Allegedly.
Oliver Bolivar, thank you so much for starting the live out with a super sticker with your sweet little pup. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oliver Bolivar. So good to see you. Thank you, Care Bear, for dropping the membership link. We'll be doing a members only live soon. Okay, you guys, have you seen? This is just ever since the verdict came out, everybody is talking. We're having interviews. We had Proctor, the leaky balloon knot, Trooper Michael Proctor. He did an interview on not only 2020, but Dateline. And Dateline included his wife. And they were walking around in his backyard. Did you guys see this one? And his wife's like, he's a good guy. And I'm like, why are we even asking her? Why does this lady have to answer for him? That's your shitty husband. Don't try to convince us your shitty husband isn't shitty when we saw him be shitty. So it's just Michael Proctor going around with his little song and dance, with his propaganda going, one thing I do in my life doesn't define me. And this is a pretty big deal, sir. It's a pretty big deal. And his wife was like, he's really a good guy. Yeah, he didn't tell me the full extent of the text messages, but he warned me somewhat. And then when they came out, he was just really upset. And there's so many lies that Michael Proctor is still. It's like, bro, give it up. No one's believing you. This isn't going to work for you. We saw. We were there. There were 2 trials. We've seen the texts. We've seen your shitty investigation. You're not going to convince us you're not a shitty person. And now, you guys, he's campaigning to get his job back. What? He's going through appeals. I'm sorry. Since when do you get to totally suck at your job and get fired and do things that are dishonorable, that lack integrity, and then go, but I liked my job. I want my job back. It's a good job. Yeah, but you sucked at it, so you were fired. It's called being fired. Take the L, sir. Apply to Del Taco. I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts. Somewhere. But not. He's like, I want to be a trooper. And then he cried. And he cried. And then he cried. You guys, I got to pull up. I got a couple video clips of it that we can go over. But he cried into what looked like a Chipotle napkin. And I don't know about you, but I think Michael Proctor also ate the rest of the evidence, okay? Because this man has gained a lot of weight. And listen, I'm not one to judge. I can gain weight like it's my superpower, all right? But he's definitely doing some emo eating, away all of the, just be free. Just be free, sir. He can't even blame perimenopause like the rest of us, okay? He just literally is trying to feed this demon. Just let it out. Just be honest. Be honest with yourself. I don't know. I think he ate all the taillights. Michael Proctor. I was like, oh my God. And it's so, normally we would be like, let's not fat shame. Normally we're not fat shaming. Objection, Joleen, you always are against fat shaming. You're being a hypocrite. Overruled. Okay. And here's the reason. He went on to judge a lady's body and be disgusting about it, being Karen Read. Talk about her leaky balloon knot, her flat ass, her weird Fall River accent. He talked about, medical stuff with her and wished her. So, you know what? In this case, we will make an exception. We will make an exception for men that talk so horribly about women and break them down when they're in a position of power, when they're supposed to be leading an unbiased investigation. But instead, they target a woman and talk disgustingly about her body. We will make an exception. Oh my God. You guys. I was like, oh my God. Trooper Proctor? What's going on? And I haven't seen Brian Higgins, and someone online said he ate Brian Higgins. Okay, I'm just saying. He could have drank them too. He could have drank them. Bella's mom's here. Hello, Bella's mom. Or drinking. Probably drinking it away. Yes, I saw that. I was like, I'm going to go live, even though we do have Yannetti and Alessi on Runkle soon. So I understand if you guys leave to go watch that. But it's not till 4:30. So you still got a half hour to hang out. Okay? Dude needs to go to rehab. I was like, oh my God, his arms look like mine. Michael Proctor, that's why I put out that video that we got something in common. We got the same arms. We got the same arms. Mikey Proctor, he's got bat wings. So I think, honestly, all of his evil deeds and the way he dehumanized Karen Read, I think all of us women, somehow, I don't know, it was like a Wicca thing. We're all witches. This is in Massachusetts, and we put all of our energy together subconsciously, okay, and all of our perimenopausal weight and everything going on that women struggle with, and we sent it to this bitch. That's what I put in my last video. He just does not look good. And this is what happens when you're a lying liar who lies. Okay, Trooper Proctor, I feel like we definitely did this, ladies, and I'm proud of us. All right. Objection. Joleen, you have no proof that you did this. Overruled. The proof is in the pudding. Okay. And I love pudding, and so does Michael Proctor. We both love pudding. We both have multiple chins, and we love pudding. All right. So that was the one. When I watched this, I was like, oh, sir, I know karma happens in the next life, but karma is real. Whatever. Maybe they switched it up just for him. Just for him. And we know he likes to drink, but just to, like, this is him now. This is him before. You guys. There's a big difference. There's a very big difference. This is like first year of college weight gain. That's very stressful. This man ate this other man. Or maybe he ate Buchanan. I don't know. Okay. I was going to say he ate Chloe, but justice for Chloe. You know, we joke over here, but we don't joke about dogs. We don't joke about dogs because we want Chloe to be okay. But this man cried into a Chipotle napkin. I've done that before. This man, he was like, Wendy's. It was from Arby's. Didn't even have a Kleenex. Just fast food napkins. It's a problem. Yup. Mm-hmm. For sure. Yes. Early retirement weight gain. It's okay, you little bitch. It's menopause. He's going through menopause. We willed this on you. We willed this on you, sir, because you're evil. Hi, Angela. Good to see you. And those napkins are rough. During the Panakuchen, me and my husband, Shell, ran out of toilet paper, and we were living in West Hollywood, and we wiped our butts with a couple Chipotle napkins, and our butts have never recovered. Allegedly. Objection. No one wants to hear about your butt. Overruled. Lots of people want to hear about my butt. It's a nice butt. It's not that nice, really. Sean and Michelle, thank you so much for the super chat. He's a real polka. So we are lifting up our no body shaming for this bitch today. Feel free to body shame this bitch today. Only because he's so disgusting. And we'll just chalk it up like he did. It's just juvenile behavior. And I feel very emotional because you went after a woman who's my age. Karen Read is my age. Okay. And we deal with a lot of stuff as we get older as women. So I felt as a woman, Karen's age, who also doesn't have children, who one day would like to have a Lexus. Okay. I feel personally offended like you did when you said all these horrible things about Karen, and you said, oh, it's because he's a cop and I'm a cop and he's got kids and I got kids. Well, I feel this way because Karen's a woman and I'm a woman, and she's 45 and I'm 45 and she doesn't have kids and I don't have kids. So I feel very emotional. So I have to or maybe she's 43. I apologize. Okay. But I have to make these very juvenile comments. And so does Shauna, that you did a polka. It's a polka. Oh my God. Procty. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of the clips that I grabbed. I watched the whole thing. You guys, you can watch his first interview is on Dateline. Yes, 2020. Second one, Dateline. If you want to watch him walking around with his hat on in his yard with the grass, with his two dogs he doesn't deserve. He has these beautiful Goldens. They're like light colored Goldens. He does not deserve them. Then watch Dateline. If you want to watch him sitting down at a table in a house he probably doesn't own, wiping his face with fast food napkins, you're going to want to watch 2020. He lies in both of them. And I cannot believe that this dude is trying to get his job back. That's the part where I'm just like, wow, you really are delusional, sir. You suck at your job. You were fired. The reason John O'Keefe will never get justice is in large part because of your investigation and just how corrupt and shitty and lack of integrity was in that investigation. Just how much you didn't investigate. That is why John O'Keefe will not get justice. But yet you're like, I want my job back. Oh, he talked about going to the academy for 6 months. And then when they told me that I lost my job, I dropped to my knees in my yard. And I was like, ooh, do you have that? Someone on Twitter was like, can we get the ring cam footage of that? I would love to see that. And I was like, they came to pick up my uniforms. And I had to give up my uniforms. And I did 6 months. 6 months is nothing. You should have done longer. Clearly 6 months didn't work for you at the academy. You needed like 6 years. But if you're going to cry like that over your uniforms, sir, people have passed. Lives have been ruined. And you had to give back your uniforms? Oh, what a bitch. Like what? All I can think is like, what a bitch. This dude is a bitch. And that is an insult to bitches. And I hate to insult bitches because I love bitches. You know what I mean? But he is a bald man. Not bald, but tiny balls. All right. Let's watch one of the clips I put together of this leaky balloon knot. with a little Alan Jackson spliced in. And let me know if you can hear this. Put a thumbs up as soon as you can hear this in the chat. All right, here we go.
You'll see from the evidence in this case that this case carries a malignancy, one that is spread through the investigation. It's spread through the prosecution from the very start, from the jump. A cancer that cannot be cut out, a cancer that cannot be cured. And that cancer has a name. And his name is Michael Proctor.
Did you plant evidence?
Absolutely not. And I'm laughing because it's such a ridiculous accusation. It's something I would never do. I've never done.
You know, most people would.
And there's no evidence of it.
This is the man who touched every single piece of important evidence in this case. All the evidence that was brought before you in this trial went through his hands one way or another. The shirts, the shards. Remember that when Mr. Brennan gets up and gives his closing argument. The shirts, the shards, all in Michael Proctor's possession. Mr. Brennan and the Commonwealth, I think, have pinned their hopes on some microscopic pieces of, or close to microscopic pieces of plastic that were claimed to have been scraped from the hoodie several months after the fact. What he failed to ask every single every single witness is who had access to that shirt and who had access to those taillight fragments. And the answer is it was Michael Proctor. Not for days, not for weeks, for months on end, for months unaccounted for, before they were submitted to the crime lab, before they were ever scraped. Just go look at the chain of custody documents. You've got them. Why didn't Michael Proctor give those clothes to Maureen Hartnett with the crime lab when she was at Canton PD just days after the fact to receive those solo cups? Remember that? Just a few days later, she was there. She drove up. She did the driving to take the solo cups in the grocery bag, which has a ridiculous aspect to it in and of itself as well. Why not just give her the shirts as well? Give her the taillight fragments if any were found at that point. Why hold on to them? What could possibly be a reason?
We're talking about people in your community, your neighbors, who believe it. This is not strangers. This is people in Canton. Why do you think that is?
That's just the loud minority.
I love this. That's just the loud minority. Yep, sure looks like the minority there, bud. Looks like the damn Celtics won. Looks like the Celtics 1 and 2. I don't know. That's not a thing. You can't do that. I understand. Okay. But it looks like the Red Sox won. And thank you, and she was, for following me on Instagram. If you guys want to follow me at joleenlunzer, also on the Tiki-Taki. I'm trying to put out shorter content over there as well. Just a figure of speech, Bella's mom. Just a figure of speech. Okay. So there's the loud minority. I don't know if this man knows English. What that word means. They got blowhorns. They got the Proctor. Okay. That's a majority.
The silent majority we've had an overwhelming amount of support
From John DePietro and the John DePietro Show. Like it's embarrassing, but okay.
They're just not out there tweeting.
And yet here they are out there tweeting. Yet another lie from the disgraced former trooper and leaky balloon knot, Michael Proctor. I love how he's like, we got a lot of balloon knot. We got a lot of support out there, but they're not on Twitter. I was looking through Twitter. There are so many accounts that are very anti-Karen Read, very Karen Read's guilty, very pro McAlberts. Go Proctor, tell him everything, get him. So no, they're out there. There's just not as many. Okay. So to just say like, they're just not on Twitter. Well, who are these bitches then? You know what I mean? No offense to bitches, but who are they? Okay. Because we got Mass Hole Mafia says, I stand with the O'Keefe family and Karen Read will face justice. Mama Llama says, regardless of what side you're on, if you deny that Hank Brennan absolutely dismantled Karen Read's fabricated conspiracy today, you're not a serious person. Okay. He also proved to every reasonable person that she and only she killed John O'Keefe. I mean, these people exist. This guy says that's fair. Next thing you know, I'll be down in 11 vodka sodas, running over my boyfriend and becoming a local trash hero. Talking about Karen Read. This person from Iowa says she was drunk. She hit him. She left him to die. Julie Carpenter says, so proud of every single one of these people. And she's talking about the Alberts and the McCabes and their upcoming interview on ABC because they're talking too. She said they behaved with dignity and grace as an accused murderer sent a mob after them. I didn't know Karen Read had a mob, but okay. The truth will come out. Karen and her cohorts, in quotes, should enjoy the limelight while they have it. As depositions start flying, the tides are going to, and then I didn't hit show more, so we just have to end there. And it was John DePetro sharing this morning, witnesses speak out. Yeah. And this person said, the Don at Ponderosa says, murder is legal in Massachusetts. Hashtag justice for John O'Keefe. Hashtag Karen Read retrial. So they're out there, Michael Proctor. Why you lie about stupid shit? That's why nobody can trust you. You lie about the dumbest shit. It's there. Thank you, Shauna Michelle. Shauna Michelle says blood in solo cups was the first clue the investigation was fudged up. It was fudged up. 100%. 100%. Hi. But they exist. Okay. There's just not as many. So you're going to say, oh, they're yelling just as loud, but there's just not as many. But you want to lie about it, sir. And it's very on brand for Trooper Proctor and his leaky balloon knot. All right. Let's take a look at this next clip. I think there's 2 clips here from the 2020. And Proctor, I got to get the clip of him crying, you guys. They haven't put the whole interview out online anywhere except for the streaming services, and they won't let me share it. What the hell's going on here? Okay. Let me remove that, and then we'll share this screen. Okay. Try this again. Reload it. Smash that like if you haven't already, you guys. Let's see if we can hit 500 likes. Is it possible? Maybe. You guys are amazing. Okay. Here we go. I just don't understand this, like, going on a media tour when you are an asswipe. Sometimes you just got to own being an asswipe. You know what I mean? Some people are born asswipes. And you just got to go, you know what? I'm an asswipe. I need to get some serious help. I don't need to drink or eat my feelings. I need to go to therapy. I need to, go to maybe some church. I don't know if Michael Proctor goes to church. I need to find something to believe in other than myself and my ego. I got to let it go. Okay. Not let it rip, not off the rip like Brian Higgins, but I just got to let it go. All right. And I got to get better, and I got to own my pot. Cats hate cults. Oh, I love your name. Welcome to the Lean Team YouTube membership. Okay. So give me a thumbs up as soon as you can hear this.
Time that Proctor is speaking publicly in an interview about this case. He tells me about those moments when he and his colleague, Sergeant Yuri Buchanan, first head to the Canton Police Department.
Does it change the nature of the investigation when you know that the deceased is a cop?
No, nor should it. There's a little more emotion involved.
Proctor and Buchanan head to the hospital now to see John's body. Proctor says at the hospital they realize O'Keefe had been found wearing only one shoe.
And the reason that became important, or was important at the time, during my training and experience, I've been to pedestrian strikes where both shoes are right at the point of impact.
So the body gets hit, but the shoes get left at the point of impact.
I've seen them where people get ripped completely out.
But have you ever seen it where they get ripped off their feet and they're both right feet? They're both right shoes? I don't know. Okay. Objection. Okay. There. People don't have 2 right feet. Okay. Well, ask them that. Okay. Overruled. Because that's what they were showing us. It's like, it's crazy that Proctor, who had a hold of all the evidence, touched everything, messed everything up, And he's the one who's like, miraculously, look what I found now. Look at me. And you're like, what? Miraculously, now I found this too. Look at all of this tail light. I found it all after having possession of Karen's vehicle in the Sally Port, where we inverted the vehicle, and Brian Higgins and that other guy were in there for a wild amount of time, according to Kelly Deva. But she will soon take it back because she got a better job and she had a false memory. And then I was in there, and anyways, but that's neither here nor there. I would never tamper with evidence except for when I allegedly tamper with evidence.
Out of their clothing, and their clothes are at the point of impact.
At what point did you develop such strong negative feelings about Karen Read that you would say things like, hopefully she kills herself, or calling her the C word?
Those feelings developed as the case went on.
I mean, can you see how people might think, he was caught?
I like how he's like, those feelings went on as the case went on. It was like 8 to 16 hours, and you were texting your friends like, I hope she unalives herself. She is a dumb bitch. She's the R word, and so is her stupid. I hate David Yannetti too because he's sexy, and I've always wanted to be sexy, but he just is smart, and he doesn't cry and wipe his tears on napkins from Chipotle and or Arby's because they have low carbies. And yeah, so I wish I was like him, but sadly, I am not. But again, over time, these developed. But I got to text all my friends. Guess what? She's going down. We're going to take the girl down. Of course, the Alberts aren't going to get any heat because he's a fellow cop. I love cops. In all caps. Cops, 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 cops. Exclamation point, cops. I love cops. Well, I mean, not all cops, but I love these cops because it is a cop that I'm not getting justice for. But anyways, she's got a leaky balloon knot. Her butt leaks poop, just like mine. Let's see. She's pretty hot. Don't tell my wife. And she got a weird Fall River accent. What do you guys think? And they're all like, oh, cool. Not only messaging your friends, but your coworkers. Say, oh, P.S. Did I mention I hope she ends her life? And she's a see you next Tuesday. Yeah, I'm very professional. So you were only looking into this case, you weirdo, for literally like 16 hours. And you had already decided that, I mean, I think it was just 16 hours since they found John O'Keefe. And he was like, this bitch. He acts like it was over time. This is where he's trying to garner sympathy from the public who maybe didn't follow this trial as closely as a lot of us. So they might go, oh, that makes sense. He would be very sad at the death of a fellow cop. Yeah. And over time of working the case and getting all the evidence together, it's like, no, he had nothing. He had nothing. He just wanted this lady to be guilty. So don't believe the hype around this guy. All right. I think he ate the left tennis shoe. I don't know. Allegedly.
But in this instance, speaking about a suspect in this way, at what point did you develop such strong negative feelings about Karen Read that you would say things like, hopefully she kills herself, or calling her the C word?
Those feelings developed as the case went on.
I mean, can you see how people might think, he was caught in this instance, speaking about a suspect in this way. Maybe it's happened in other cases as well.
I 100% understand why people would think that. But when you have, a fellow police officer around my age, 2 kids of his own, it generates an emotion. And I express those emotions in a negative way, which I shouldn't have. I shouldn't even, been texting my friends anything. They are what they are. They don't define me as a person.
They do though. They do though.
They're regrettable.
When do you cry? How's long until you cry?
Been texting my.
He's like, okay, so maybe I shouldn't have texted my friends. Okay, I'll give you that. But I just thought that it was because he was a cop. No, sir. No, this is how you handle cases. And this is why every investigation that you have ever been in charge of should be looked into. And everyone who's been locked up like Akon due to you, they need to get their cases looked into. Because you, sir, are so unprofessional and disgusting. The way you spoke about that woman, the way you handled this investigation, horrific. People have been fired for far less. You leaky balloon knot. There he is. But I really want my uniform back. I miss having something to wear. Now I have to wake up every day, and my wife, she dresses me in DACAs. I hate DACAs. And she puts me in polo shirts like I'm going to golf. I don't golf. Okay? God, golf balls look delicious. I might eat one, but I don't do that. She dresses me like I'm about to go to private school. I don't like it. When I had a uniform from the cops, I look so cool. I love locking up people who didn't deserve it. I love texting my buddies going, hey, no nudes yet. I'm in a place of, I got to come from a position of power over here. And I'm searching every chick I arrest phone for nudes. Oh, found them. Can you imagine how many times Michael Proctor had access to a woman's phone or even a gentleman's phone and took very intimate things from that phone that he shouldn't have and what he's done with it? And I love how he's like, I was just very emotional. You're so emotional about a fellow cop passing away that you're texting your friends that you're looking for nudes on the suspect's phone? No. See, you can't have it both ways. You can't be over here like, oh, I'm joking. Ha ha. And then be like, this is totally out of character. It was because I was really hurt. No, this is who you are, bitch. This is what you do, sir. He also had a very weird tan line on the back of his head. And he was wearing a Big Bear California hat in the Dateline interview. Objection. Who cares? Overruled. I care. I live in California. You can't come here. Okay? You stay away. Until you are ready to take responsibility, you stay away, Michael Proctor. Big Bear is a beautiful place. You don't deserve to be there. Okay? We can send you there to get eaten by a bear, allegedly, but not to enjoy all of its beauty. All right? Yeah, he wants to be like, I was just so emotional that you were looking for nudes on her phone? You're sick. You're gross. You're nasty. Interesting that, yeah, Proctor should have done in Search of Sin the interview with the Alberts and the McCabes. And we'll get to that next. But he didn't. He also, in this interview, and this one in particular, talks about how this is obviously, we just saw, out of character for him. He's, like I said, he's working to get his job back because he loves what he does. And his wife, you can tell his wife wants him back to work. She's like, he is home all the time. This is that woman, again, me and my husband Chell RN, we watched the Dateline interview, which I don't have clips of. Let me see if I can find a clip here. But his wife, Mrs. Proctor, was literally standing as far away from him as she could. Watch the Dateline episode and tell me that you don't notice how far Trooper Proctor's wife is standing away from him. She's so close to the journalist, I forget the journalist's name, standing by her in the backyard. And when Proctor is, giving his sob story, poor me, I've been held accountable for my bad behavior, poor me. She is looking at the ground. She wants to be anywhere but there. I have to believe that this is, because I would leave his ass. My husband as well has a profession where he is around very, he has access to vulnerable, information, or I should say vulnerable people like Michael Proctor does, and also very sensitive information about people. And my husband would never. And if I was married to someone and had the proof right in front of me that that's what he does, goodbye. All right? Goodbye. See you never. But thank God I didn't marry a Michael Proctor. Oh, but she couldn't get far enough away from him. Let me see if I can find this. Michael Proctor. Dateline. The Dateline one was more, okay, let's see. So talked a lot about wanting his job back. I want my job back. I mean, that's, you are supposed to protect and serve. You are held to a higher standard. You are supposed to be the people that they feel that they can go to in times when they feel unsafe, with danger. That is what the police are supposed to be. There was a time when kids could they were looking up. You see little kids are like, I want to be a police officer when I grow up. And then you see this idiot. No. These are the kind of guys, these weirdo drunk townies that become cops. I grew up in Minnesota. I got one of the worst people I've ever met in my life. I went to school with. Junior high and high school became a police officer in Minnesota. And I'm just like, oh my God. And another townie drunk like Michael Proctor, allegedly, obviously, for entertainment purposes, only in parody. And those are not the people that you want out there. Hell to the nah. Okay. Let's see if we can share this one without them striking me. NBC, we need to be able to provide commentary on this, okay? Because you allowed a platform for this leaky balloon knot and you let him shit all over your network. And now we got stuff to say about it. Okay, let's see. So here he's like, okay, I'm going to put my shorts on. And look how far his wife is standing. Like, not standing by him, not rubbing his back, not holding his hand, because she's disgusted by him. It may be, I don't know if when he was fired, if your pension goes away, I don't know how the police union works out there. And if, you lose your pension or that, but maybe she's staying with him because she's like, oh, we're still getting that pension. I don't know how it works, but I'm just like, girl, you can leave. You can go.
Absolutely not.
Why are you laughing? I thought you were so emotional. Leaky balloon knot, Michael Proctor. I thought you were so emotional about it. You were like, oh, my feelings hurt. It's another cop. And now you're just laughing with a Big Bear hat on. Take that back. Take it back. Take it off. Take that hat off. The people of Big Bear have spoken. Objection. You only know like 2 people in Big Bear. Overruled. Those 2 people are more than this guy knows. Okay? And they're very powerful people. So they're not very powerful, but it doesn't matter. Overruled, overruled. It's just like Bev. I just overrule. And why is he cross-eyed? What's happening? He's like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But she couldn't
What do
be
you want to say
farther
to
away.
anyone who believes
Couldn't
the
be farther
narrative,
away.
the defense's narrative?
Accusation.
I laugh. Does his wife look happy? Does she look happy? She does not. This woman needs an out. Friends of her, go get her. Go pick her up. Take her away from this. Kick this man out. Get out of here. Look at the lawn. The lawn doesn't even look that nice. Proctor, oh, you got nothing but time. Do more.
There's not one piece of evidence.
Did he dye his beard? I think he's dyeing his beard. He's doing just for men on his face.
Or fact to support that, because it did not happen. I would never do something like that.
Did you crack?
Would never do something like that. Well, now we believe you would do basically anything. After what we know from your testimony in the first trial and what we know from your botched, horrible, corrupt investigation, we can't believe anything. We can't believe nothing, sir.
The taillight to make it look a certain way.
There's a certain police officer that said the taillight looks nothing like it did when he saw it before you guys got a hold of it. And it looks like someone smashed it out. And a couple of the jurors are saying that part of the reasonable doubt they were able to find and the conclusion they came to was when they saw the taillight after you guys said it was all smashed out and the red parts were everywhere, spread all over the place, that the taillight still was red. So they were like, how's that possible if it was smashed so bad that all the red pieces were on the lawn?
Absolutely not.
Did you frame Karen Read?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. I just said I hope she unalives herself and that she has a leaky balloon knot and that she's got no ass, weird Fall River accent, and that she's Riri, and that I hate David Yannetti and other things. Yeah. And I look for nudes on a phone. But you think a guy that does all that would lie and frame her? I laugh at you. Oh, he sucks so bad. So bad. So bad. So bad. So bad. It's like, sir, you got to take some accountability. It's time. It is time. The fact that he is just out here going, I would never do that. This is ridiculous. And there will be people, because I've seen them on YouTube, people who know very little about this case, people who did not follow any of the trial, who are like, oh, I feel bad. Oh, it's like, no, don't do it. Watch, read, look at what this man did. Look at what this man said. Don't allow for any pity for this man. This man made his bed, and now he's got to lie in it. And he doesn't want to. He wants an out. He's like, oh no, I should not have to have any consequences for my action. When you suck at your job, you lose it. People get laid off for like dumb reasons. This is like a legitimate reason to fire someone. Michael Proctor in particular. Michael Proctor. All right, let me see. Oh my God, the ads on some of these things are so long. All right, skip. Okay, I think this is another. All right, here's another clip. I'm trying to find all the clips I can from the Dateline one, you guys. But they are being very stingy online for us to see it. But obviously, if you have providers or streaming services that have Dateline on it, check it out, and you will be able to see the full interview. But none of these interviews are very long. You know, they wouldn't even give Michael Proctor a full segment. That's how bad this dude is. That's the crazy part. I was like, oh, Procky's getting interviewed. Okay. And then it's like 5 minutes, 11 minutes, no minutes. Like they really did not give this guy time. When was this aired? This was aired last night or the night before, I believe. The Dateline one might have been last night. And then the 2021, for me, it aired Wednesday. So the same night, same day as the verdict. But I know some people were saying that in their area, it wasn't airing. So check your local listings. You were involved in the investigation for like 8 to 16 hours. I vented after you just were on the case. It just happened. What did you need to vent for? You just started. It's like getting to work and going, ugh, I've worked so hard. It's like you haven't even walked in the door yet. You haven't even scanned your badge. Oh, my God, it's been such a long day. You haven't started. I know, but it's been such a long day. And thank you, Graphics, for gifting 5 memberships. That was really generous of you. And congratulations to those of you that got selected to receive a membership to the channel. Thank you so much.
Instantly jumped to a conclusion.
See again how far his wife is standing. She is like on another planet to where he is. Look at this. She is trying to latch on to the reporter. I apologize. I don't remember what her name is. Okay. But the beautiful blonde reporter with the white skirt. He's trying. She's like, take me with you. Take me with you, please. I need to get out of here. Okay. He took the keys to the car. Get Mrs. Proctor out of there. She is standing so freaking close to the report. She is more in love now with NBC Dateline than she's ever been with Michael Proctor.
Yeah. I don't know who I am.
No, we saw who you were. We saw the testimony. I mean, we've learned quite a bit about you, sir.
They don't know the kind of person that I am. They just see those text messages and they immediately just assume I'm a bad person.
I mean, it's a pretty good assumption. It's a pretty good assumption. Oh my God. Okay, I gotta see one more time. No, don't play the up next. I hate when they do that stuff. It's like, no, I don't want to watch.
We're looking for adults 45 and under to be in our HPV vaccination.
Okay, you guys quit saying I got HPV over there. We're looking for adults 45. Because I said I was 45. Now you guys are gonna. Don't you dare. Okay, which one did I click on? I gotta remember. Maybe this one? I don't think it was this one. Oh, darn tootin'. There's so many damn ads. Hello, are you unable to get a boner? So am I. Me too. None of us can get boners. We need boner pills. I want insurance to cover it. They should. I eat tacos. I like to get boners. What's going on? Give me a boner. A Walmart boner. Okay. Okay, so she's kind of walking. So there's his cute little doggies that he doesn't deserve. Justice for Chloe. Okay, it's way more than juvenile. Disgusting. Like Ariana said during Scandival. Shout out to Ariana Maddox. Subhuman. Okay, you're Scandival levels.
It's not me as a person.
Look at his wife. She's like, she looked over like, it's him. It's him.
I vented.
He vented. That's how you vent. You have no emotional control, but you want a job, a very important job, being a trooper, sir. You want to be with the stadies, and you cannot control your emotions. And they say women are too emotional and hysterical for positions of power. But look at you over here, crying, getting your period everywhere. You don't even have your period. You don't even have an excuse. Hormone levels changing, nothing. You're regular as a motherfucker. Your hormones are like this, and still you're like, I'll see you next Tuesday. I want to see her naked. Like you were getting angry rage boners. Very inappropriate, very disgusting, not juvenile. Okay, that is an insult to young people. That's an insult to juvenile delinquents who would not do what you did.
After being involved in an investigation of a police officer, and
you were barely involved. Yeah, like Kristen is saying, juvenile. There are approach of privacy, a breach of privacy, and his oath. Yes. They better not. You better quit training them dogs to be attack dogs and then getting rid of them and putting them under the pool, allegedly. Justice for Chloe. Where's Chloe? Right? Oh my gosh. Graphic says most likely you, Yuri, and how you guys did this investigation or why the FBI got involved. Yes, the feds got involved, sir. That's how bad you were. That's how mismanaged, how poorly you did. How shitty. Ay.
use words that I regret.
People see those text messages.
Look at his wife. She is gone. She's gone. She's like, get me out of here. Skeezer, hoe, slut, butt face, ass wipe, let's see, butthole licker, stupid face, unprofessional. He's the real, see you next Tuesday, booger eater, booger licker, nipple pincher, the suckiest piece of suck that ever sucked. There's a couple names that come to mind when I think of Michael Proctor. Dirty, walking herpes, walking syphilis, yucky McYuckerson, stinky butt, McPoopy face. Just a couple.
Yeah.
But I'm very emotional because you went after a lady who's my age. All right. Falsely just tried to very biasly set her up when you didn't have any proof to that. And she doesn't have kids and I don't have kids. And so I felt so emotional. We're from the same area. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. The same area of our uterus.
Yeah. I could see how people make that leap.
He is so inarticulate. This guy is so dumb. How did he ever get to the position he's in? This is ridiculous. I can see other people got to the place where they think the thing about me. What? Oh my gosh.
You must be biased. You must be a bad person.
We should treat him like they treat Karen. Why is he laughing so much? Why is he smiling? Why is he so cocky? Seems so sure of himself. Seems pretty happy to be the guy that got fired for fudging up an investigation into the murder of a fellow police officer. Why does he look like he's having a good time? Why isn't he taking this seriously? Why is he speaking? That's what I would think. I look at him and I think dingleberries.
I'm a bad person.
I'm a bad person. Drunk. He's a drunk dingleberry. He's a drunken dingleberry, guys. That's what we see, Michael Proctor. It's not our fault. Okay? That you like to party with, Kevin Albert, and you guys like to lose your badges and lose your pew-pews. That's what we see. Yeah, we can tell exactly who you are. You gave us just enough to know exactly who you are and how much you suck. Okay. So moving on from Proctor. All right, you guys. Now this, I have not watched this yet. We have did I close that tab? The McAlberts. Brian Albert, his wife, who was having sex with allegedly, so he couldn't be involved in any weird stuff regarding the death of John O'Keefe. Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, but you know who was missing? Brian Higgins. So they all got together and they decide to sit down for an interview. Okay, let me find this here. I think they did a 2020 ABC. Oops. And I don't know if they aired all of it this morning or if more of it's going to air tonight. Let me take a look. Smash that like while I'm pulling it up here. Brian Albert, Jen McCabe interview. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's on Instagram. I don't want an Instagram one. No, 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 no. Don't. Okay, let's go on YouTube. I think they have it on YouTube. Hopefully. In all my excitement over what a dick Proctor is, I closed my tab. Okay, maybe I'll open on Instagram. All right. Nightline. Instagram. I don't know how long this clip is, but we'll see. We will see. Upon the Wire, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, nothing says there's no murder conspiracy to see here like putting out a joint statement. That's what I said on Wednesday. / interview with all the people you're accused of being in a murder conspiracy with, right? If you want to prove that you are separate people who are not working together in some kind of corrupt, scheme and plan and collusion against Karen Read, then say it by yourself. These people have constantly been a group. A group of them going after Karen Read. They're like, no, we did it, but you do everything as a group. It's crazy that they think that this is going to prove something. But accused as a group, also accused individually. If you want to break up that group, then speak on your own. Also, where's Brian Higgins? Chris Albert's there, but where's Brian Higgins? Are they going to throw Brian Higgins on the bus? Is he going to take the heat? I don't know. Okay, let me share this here. The Instagram. Okay, let's give me a thumbs up as soon as you guys hear the audio on this.
Justice system has let us down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
For the first time, some of the key players in the Karen Read trial sitting down for an exclusive interview. His friend, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matt, former Boston police sergeant Brian Albert, and his wife, Nicole, and his brother, Chris Albert. All five of them pulled into the center of this high-profile case and now speaking out.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did the civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Read! It's the case that has captivated the country and divided
Okay, I hate to I'm going to pull up a different, because I want it to be larger here, you guys. So apologies, I found another version. I found one on the YouTubers. Okay. And I love how the criminal justice system has failed us. You mean the same criminal justice system that tried to protect you from the beginning? Not going into your house, not investigating, not doing what they needed to do, whether it be the DA or the police. Oh, okay. Okay, now. Huh. Très intéressant. All right, I'm going to make them bigger. I'm going to make them bigger than me. All right, let's start this over. You guys smash that like if you haven't already.
The criminal justice system has let us down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
For the first time, some of the key players in the Karen Read trial sitting down for an exclusive interview. His friend, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matt, former Boston police sergeant Brian Albert, and his wife, Nicole, and his brother, Chris Albert. All five of them pulled into the center of this high-profile case and now speaking out.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did the civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen! It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Read, accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, hitting him with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most serious charges.
Okay, I'm sorry. Real quick. Did we just hear Chris Albert say, we were just witnesses? Sir? Aren't you the only one who's truly been convicted of killing someone in their automobile? Isn't that the same Chris Albert? What? Huh? So do you just want to blame Karen for something you did? He's like, we were just witnesses. But you also have experience with doing this sort of thing. Are you speaking as an expert? What? Self-awareness. Self-awareness. And you're on the select board? And wasn't it Bev's obviously alleged, everything's for comedy purposes. Wasn't it Bev's brother or father was his attorney? Auntie Bev's, in his case, in his 20s. And wasn't it the same Chris Albert who then fled the scene of the crime when you hit someone and unfortunately unalived them? And the police had to be looking for you? And what did he serve, you guys? I can look it up here, but I think it wasn't much time. And you're going to sit there and go, oh, it's not fun. It's not fair. I think it was a hit and run. In 1995, Chris Albert was involved in a hit and run, which resulted in a death. Oh my God, 94, 95. He hired Judge Beverly Canone's Judge Bev's expensive attorney brother. Police never questioned him about drunk driving. So we should have gave the OUI to Chris Albert. He was already there. Oh. He tried to hide it, but it was in 1994 when he was 22 years old. He served 6 months in prison for it. For hitting somebody. Oh my gosh. And then Albert led the state police on a 30-hour manhunt after rear-ending a car on I-95 in Attleboro and killing the driver, Peter Berger, at 3 a.m. before fleeing the scene. The passenger, Peggy Lau, survived. Berger was a 23-year-old exchange student attending Johnson in Wales and was described as one of the top students in the MBA honors program. Peter had a bright future ahead of him, which was stolen from him by Chris Albert. He would be 55 years old today, and this is from TB Turtle Boy Daily News. Reported this a while ago, November 2023. And apparently, when he was running for selectman last year, Chris Albert intentionally hid from voters the fact that he was a convicted felon who killed a man. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my gosh, but he's going to sit there. We're going to sit there. We're going to pass judgment. He's like, no, you're an expert in this. Chris Albert, you're an expert in sandwiches, the D&E, and unfortunately unaliving people with your automobile. And then there's the issue of your son, Colin. Isn't Colin this one's son too? Oh boy.
And now speaking out.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is...
I don't know, Chrissy. You seem to be an expert on the topic. You only went to jail for 6 months. That got quite the deal there. And you led the police on a manhunt? You fled the scene? 6 months? Oh, gosh. It's almost like this town erupted in the injustice of the Karen Read trial because there were years and years and years of experience of them seeing people get off and seeing this corrupt system, allegedly. Right? Because people don't act. People don't get the way that the Free Karen Read movement got without them knowing that this is systemic. This is something within the town they live in that's been going on for a while. And they're sick of it. Oof. Chris, I would have stayed home on this one. But I guess you can't because your son, Colin, who we can't talk about according to Auntie Bev, or couldn't talk about this trial. But he seems to got some issues too. I love how they're all like, this poor boy. You mean the poor boy who's on film, like video, threatening people, bloody knuckles, saying he fell on the ice just on his right knuckle, and that's how it was all bloody when he testified the first time. The guy that's like, hey, come down here. We're the trailer park boys. We'll kick your ass. Interesting.
A thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did the civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
I feel like they put a little bit of makeup on Brian Alberts. He still looks scary, but a little less scary.
We're just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did the civic duty,
Yeah, bang, bang.
came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Read!
It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Read, accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, hitting him with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most serious charges, second-degree murder and manslaughter. And hundreds of supporters in pink, Karen Read's favorite color, cheering as the verdict came down yesterday.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
People turned this thing into a tailgate party, it looked like, some days. Board games, cornhole, cookouts. This is a guy that was murdered, and it's atrocious for that.
What are you talking about, bitch? You didn't even come out of your house. He was murdered on your front lawn, and you couldn't even come out of your house. And we're going to hear you say, because I saw it in a clip, that, well, you were a Boston police officer, not Canton. You didn't even come out of your house. Where's your dog? When you're talking about these people fighting for something they see as an injustice, where's your fucking dog? Where's your fucking dog? Oh.
That family.
While the prosecutors blamed Read for O'Keefe's death, the defense said this group of family members framed Read to cover up what really happened that night. Ever since, their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us to the sense where we're
Sir, I think 1994 dehumanized you.
not real people. We're almost like caricatures. We're just
Oh my God.
we're pawns.
Have each of you been called murderers? Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah, on a daily basis.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
And anyone who's friends with us support cop killers.
After 3+ years, the saga wrapped up yesterday. Read captured celebrating at dinner with her father, and today seen walking with her attorney, Alan Jackson.
I didn't even know I'd be here today, so I had no plans.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe's family and friends struggling with the verdict.
I'm just sad for John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get justice for him, and our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
We took what we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
Oh my God, Matt McCabe. I haven't seen you in so long, Maddie. Remember when you were like, I'm not going to make it to the basketball game? Telling the guy never came in the house. I'm going to miss the basketball game. Because they were asking Carrie Roberts questions about the murder of your friend. About the unaliving of your friend. And you were like, I'm not going to make it to the basketball game. Oh, God. Talk about people playing games outside. You literally were worried days after your friend died, tragically, if you were going to make it to the basketball game. Like these people, you have no yeggies to stand on here, guys.
After
Our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
We took what we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
After a night of hanging out at a local bar in a brutal 2022 blizzard, Brian and his wife Nicole hosted a late-night gathering at their home. An invitation had been extended to Read and O'Keefe, but Brian Albert says neither of them ever entered his home that night. O'Keefe was found lying unconscious in the snow of Albert's front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent altercation at the Alberts' home, possibly involving other members of law enforcement.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
Never.
Never. Never.
These are people in your own community who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people. You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians, the medical examiner, firemen, EMTs, you name it. That's how preposterous and silly this is. And great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
Brian Albert says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
No. That was the first trial. Okay, the first trial, there was a barge in. She was like, ah. The second trial, she was very quiet. Nicole, wake up. It's me, Jen. I didn't want to scare him. Remember how Jen McCabe's story changed? And she was like, no, I didn't barge in. And where was the dog? Where was Chloe?
Was just upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
Why was your door open too? And why did she call you at 5 a.m.? But she said she didn't. But the phone records concluded that was a lie. I know the butt dials. But it appeared that you guys had somewhat of a conversation. It's very interesting.
And what did she tell you?
Albert says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
She was just upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? And I'm like, who? I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer.
Let me know in the chat, you guys. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know a cop who would say this, or a first responder would say, oh God, even though it's on my lawn, it's out of my jurisdiction. It doesn't matter. I don't want to help my friend. I don't want to help this guy that I may have known, might have known, whatever. Because I'm not Canton. It's just on my lawn. It's just at my yard. I don't want to get involved. Like, there's no way. Growing up with an uncle who was a homicide detective, if something happened on his front lawn, he's going to be out there, especially if it's one of his friends or someone who was allegedly supposed to be at his house that night, someone he was drinking with earlier. He'd be out. He wouldn't go, oh, it's out of my jurisdiction. I'm this city, not that city. I don't know cops like that. Do they really exist? He's like, ooh, they're not paying me. Ooh, they're not paying me. I'm off the clock. Can't help you. Sorry. Ooh, my lawn wasn't in my jurisdiction. Yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah, it's my house, but I'm not a Canton cop. I'm Boston. I'm better. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. The friend that you said you take a bullet for, but you won't even get out of bed for and go outside. Interesting.
I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer. I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs,
whoa.
The police were already.
What's a cold sleep? What is a cold sleep, you guys? Of a cold sleep. Did they not have the heat on? What's going on, Brian Albert? I just got out of a cold sleep. It's a cold, what? What? I've never heard that term before. Got a freezing cold sleep. Frozen sleep. I was so cold. Cold as my heart. It was out of my jurisdiction. I got up out of a cold sleep. What? What is a cold sleep? He's Nikki. He's like, Nikki. Well, he was, him and Nicole, his wife, they were doing the ditty, he said. So he partied, he had intercourses with his wife, and then he went into a cold sleep. He was knocked out. I've heard knocked out cold, which would probably be a bad reference for you guys, considering some of the allegations that people think. But yeah.
Already in my house. John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe. I came downstairs. The police were already in my house.
Probably had to brush his teeth like Jen McCabe. He's like, I got to brush my teeth. I can't go outside with dirty teeth. And then I got to call 7 people, go to Dunkin' Donuts. Oh my God. Why did they think this would be helpful? Why did they think this would be helpful?
The police were already in my house. John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes 0 sense. What am I supposed to do? Run out front in my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant?
Over the course of the night, Reed called and texted John 52 times. She then called Jen asking for help to find John. Karen previously telling me she and John had gotten into an argument that night.
Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in a fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him?
Would
Not
never
to try to kill him, but try to
tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size SUV. To hit John's body with my car. No.
I spoke with a juror tonight who told me she believes a collision did not occur.
Overall, a lot of the evidence had caused reasonable doubt, and that was enough for us not to convict.
A little after 6 a.m., Karen found John's body in the snow. Jen called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a man passed out in the snow.
There's a man passed out in the snow.
Hello?
But what raised eyebrows at Reed's trial was a defense theory about a Google search Jen had made about how long it takes to die in the cold. The defense claiming she searched it before O'Keefe's body was found. So much has been made about that Google search that morning. Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6:20, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe it.
The group also.
Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. All the butt dials, all the random searches at random times that you're like, no, I didn't do it at that time. It doesn't make sense, which means it's probably not true. Oh, justice for Chloe.
Hoping to clear up rumors regarding the Alberts' dog, Chloe, who had been
Why would they get rid of Chloe?
rehomed after the incident. The defense claimed the dog was involved in O'Keefe's death.
Those wounds were inflicted as the result of a dog attack. Those marks are from teeth.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
So if they wanted to take DNA evidence from Chloe the dog and match it to possible
Then show us. Show us her.
DNA evidence on John O'Keefe, they could have matched.
Absolutely.
But now with the trial behind them, they say they're still faced with threats against them and their families. But
Again, it's so much hearsay. Like, how do we know that they know and that is really Chloe? And why did you get rid of the dog? That looks so sus and so weird to get rid of your family dog. And Brian Albert, you're a police officer and you're training that dog. You're training it to, like, it's a German Shepherd. You train it to be a police dog. You train it to be a attack dog for your like, what's going on with the dog? It's so weird. That's why people have so many questions, because there's just, this shit doesn't make sense. People don't act the way that these people act. Oh my gosh. Yeah, produce Chloe. Bring her up. We want to see. Pull up like vet records. Show us that that's really Chloe. How hot is that? If you know where she is, show us. That's what people say. Under the floor, under the freaking pool. I don't know. Yeah, don't just point to a random German Shepherd's fur. Like, bring the dog forth. if you really want to clear your name, if you're willing to do all of this, you think you would want to prove the dog situation. Why move? Why get rid of the phone? There's so many things, multiple phones. You rehomed everything, right? They did. Solified said they're so out of touch that they think this will convince someone. They have nowhere left to hide. If they want to shut down these rumors about Chloe, and if they want to say, you know, they want to bring forth the dog. We love dogs. It's fucking weird. Does she have a microchip? That's how I got one of my dogs, Buffy. My husband found her out on a walk with her other dog. We brought her to our vet. She was microchipped. They contacted her owners. They happened to be our neighbors. We didn't even know. One street over. And I was like, oh, so bummed. And then it turns out they were like, hey, we can't really take care of her. She keeps running away. We're not around for her. You seem to take good care of her in the time you held on to her for us. Do you want to take her? And I was like, yes, yes. You'll be able to tell if that is, in fact, the dog. It shouldn't be that hard to prove. Leah, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Lean team. You don't rehome a dog that bites. Ask an expert. And if Brian Albert, I mean, what were you doing? Are you training the dog? Like, what was going on there? The dog was known to attack people. What were you doing to help Chloe? Not just get rid of her. But how do we know the defense is aware? Because they said so? Because these people who have not been very transparent, these people who are not very believable, these people who've done some super sus things said so? These people who have the proof right in their phone that they sent these messages, that they said this, that they called at this time, that they searched at this time, and they all go, no, we didn't. That's wrong. We're supposed to believe them? That's crazy. That is crazy. I thought that Stephen King knows where Chloe is. Pet Cemetery. Justice for Chloe.
Hope to continue calling this community their home.
You get down, you get depressed, and it's like, but this is the town we like grew up in. Like, we didn't do anything wrong. We all contributed to it.
I mean, you did. You did, Chris Albert. You really did. You literally fled the scene of an accident where someone died because you hit them.
Our town, we love our town. Why should we have to go anywhere?
Oh boy. Hose long until they get it. Ay, ay, ay. Oh my gosh. Right? I mean, they'll just like they did when they were witnesses in the first trial, they'll just have excuses for it. For destroying your phone. Literally, this is my old phone. This is my most current phone. I didn't go destroy. Well, I kind of dropped it and destroyed it, but I didn't go destroy it on a military base. I didn't make it disappear. Did they recycle it? Did they give it back to the carrier, like Verizon or T-Mobile, so they could get a nicer phone, a trade-in value? No, they destroyed their phones. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you. Lisa says, I'd love to know how much the paycheck was for that interview. I don't know, guys. It's just, whew, it's crazy. It is crazy. Katie says, suck it, Chris. Chris, you guys are pretty mean. Okay, from what we've seen, not good, Chris. Not good. Not good over there. Let's see. Yep. What about their excuses for it? And where is Higgy, you guys? Where do you think he is? Why isn't Higgy there? That's Brian Albert's best friend. Where's Brian Higgins? Check his passport. I think he'll leave the country. I don't know. Something's weird about that. As a group, why leave out Brian Higgins? That's your best friend. That's your buddy. That's the guy you guys were hugging at the bar, play fighting. You were Brokeback Brianing? I don't know. Bella's mom says, remember Chris brags that he has direct line to Canton PD after verbally assaulting tourists on the sidewalk. Chris and the D&E, they were thrusting at each other. Thrust. It's and they're going to do more interviews. You know they're going to. They're not going to let this opportunity to speak because they somehow feel silenced, even though we've heard so much from them. Brian, you guys think Brian Higgins is living in Bev's basement in the Cape? Possibly. That would make sense. Bev's like, here's some bottles and James. Go downstairs, Brian. Okay, I got a fireplace you can fix too. I think you're hot. He's like, you think I'm hot? I think you're hot, Brian. Lucinda says, Chris asked your brother why he rehomed his dog and his phone and then moves to a house by the Canadian border. Oh, so many questions. Mark says, I believe Higgy Bear realized he was being played. If that's the case, Higgy, are you going to come forward with any information? I don't know. All right, let's take a listen to the jurors are speaking. KarenRead, jurors. We have number 4 and 12 and maybe 11. They're all 2, 4, 6, 8. They're all talking. The first guy went on TMZ. Harvey Levin interviewed him. And then there is a woman, Paula. Let's pull up hers here and see what she has to say. There's a couple of them. Okay. And this is the juror who was a lawyer, who everyone was talking about, but in Brazil. She said she's only licensed to practice in Brazil. And she moved here, I think, within the past year or so. Okay. So let's take a listen. Let me know if you guys can give me a thumbs up as soon as you hear the audio for this.
And what made you come forward to actually share your experience about being a juror in this high-profile case?
I actually want to give a message to the family, make them understand that, or at least hear us out saying it's not our fault that KarenRead was innocent. I mean, the Commonwealth and the investigation couldn't actually prove and show evidence enough to make us convict her of anything. So I want to come out to let them know that we feel for them. Like, I personally feel for them a lot. I'm a mother, and it broke my heart to see the family leaving the courthouse on that day. But it wasn't her fault, and I hope they find who did it.
Let's talk about the verdict and how you guys came to this conclusion.
At first, most of us were on the same page, pretty much. We were shocked with so many holes the case presented to us. But there was some people who had questions, and we were there those 4 days to answer those questions. Where a heated argument, like, oh my God, we disagree and everything. No, but we had some disagreements about this evidence X or Y, and we talked through it. We were very respectful of each other, and we came out to the agreement.
Was there any particular evidence that you guys were really stumped on?
For me, specifically the taillight, we all took a look close to the taillight, and we couldn't make the taillight, the damage on the taillight, the original taillight, compatible with the injuries on his body. Mm-hmm. So having a close look of the taillight helped me a lot, and I'm sure the other jurors too.
So she wasn't the only one that mentioned the taillight. Juror number 4, the guy that was interviewed by TMZ, he mentioned the taillight too. And the fact that the taillight still had so much red on it, they were like, but that didn't match, that didn't coincide with what the prosecution was saying and how the taillight was busted out. So that was like, seems to be a pretty big deal for them, is when they were looking over the taillight and looking over, the evidence on the car itself. And that since it didn't line up, that they were like, well, there's a reasonable doubt right there. So they both mentioned this. So that was definitely conversations that were had by the jurors.
Solidified it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned who might have done this. I know David Yannetti, her attorney, said, there's somebody else out there that is responsible. Do you have any ideas who could be responsible, or do you feel the same way as you sort of suggested you do?
Yeah, I think something happened inside the house and he was placed outside. So
this juror believes that he did go in the house and that something happened inside the house and that he was placed outside. So again, showing that the prosecution failed to prove to this juror in particular that there in fact was a collision that caused John O'Keefe's death, and that John O'Keefe did not go in the house, because she's like, I believe he did. I believe something happened. I don't know what, but they weren't buying the prosecution story.
Whoever was inside the house, we didn't hear from the owner of the house or Brian Higgins, who allegedly had some sort of, involvement with Karen Read days prior. So
Higgy, they're talking about you. They're mentioning you. She just mentioned you, Brian. He's like, what? Off the rip. I'm hot.
I mean, the spotlight for me is on them, but I can't say. Just like they can't prove that was Karen Read, I can't prove it was any of the people in the house.
Can you quickly clarify what happened when you guys came out with a verdict and then said, oh, actually no verdict? There was a little point.
Yeah, we had some questions about the sleep and how to.
Oh, the slip.
Yeah, if we did right. And yeah, we sent back, and I mean, we didn't even send back. Was in a deliberation room with us, but then because the judge knew that we had the verdict, she asked to seal the paper and bring it to her.
Is that the situation where she came back and said there was a verdict and then less than 30 minutes? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked maybe, I think, an hour more, and then we came with the other verdict.
What were you guys split on, and how many of you guys were split on certain parts of this verdict?
I think, sorry, we're half and a half as when we first got there. Like Friday, last Friday we didn't do anything. We were just like, we all want to talk, put it out, because too many days without talking about it. And Monday we start to look into the evidence, the witnesses, and the videos, and the taillight close. And we're kind of like half and a half, and we had to see which questions, what make you be guilty, what make you feel not guilty for this charge and the other charge. And wasn't that hard, I think we are very respectful. We heard, and everybody left feeling that they did the right thing.
And how has your life changed since you've been part of this experience? I know it's still pretty early after, but has anything changed about your viewpoint toward justice or the justice system?
Yeah.
Since then?
So a lot of people were raising this thing, oh, she's an attorney, she shouldn't be a jury, and this and that. Just clarifying, I am an attorney from Brazil. My license is in Brazil. I never work in the U.S. I can't practice in the U.S. And I didn't lie when they chose me to be a jury. And nothing changed so far. I did like to be part of this because for me, most of the time I'm a mom. I do have a part-time job, but from home.
I love this lady's accent so much, but it reminds me, I watched 90 Day Fiance too long, and it reminds me of Larissa's accent from 90 Day Fiance, Colty. Like just her, I'm just like now picturing Larissa from 90 Day as she speaks. But yeah, there was a lot of talk about her being a lawyer. And she's like, no, just in Brazil. I don't practice here. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm not licensed here.
Home because I have to take care of my kids. So being out every day, being there every day, getting this routine of working outside the house, actually, I really enjoy it. And being in a courtroom made me feel like the old days when I was young. So the change was just my personal opinion about like what I'm going to do next. But overall, I'm just waiting for summer to start and take my kids out and get this behind. And just I'm going to keep following close because I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see what's the DA going to do next. I didn't have a chance to check the news and if they said anything.
I am so curious about this. When did you realize the gravity of this case? Obviously, you didn't know.
That is a great point. Robin says all these jurors giving interviews outside of their homes. I would never. People get cray over this case. I know. And they're already coming at these people on Twitter, these jurors. So I wondered that. I was like, is that her house? It's got to be, because why else would she be out front? I mean, I guess they could, if they want to find you, they'll find you, which is super scary. But hopefully, everyone just leaves these jurors alone. They did their civic duty. They came to that decision. It's really a failure in the prosecution and the investigators and the Commonwealth, because it was their job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And these people, the jury found lots of reasonable doubts, and so did a lot of us watching.
Anything going into jury duty, but when was that point that you really realized, oh wow, we just made a decision and it was this big? It was the Karen Read case.
When I heard the people outside last Wednesday, because I didn't know there was that amount of people outside. As we drive every day, we could see some people in pink, and I didn't know pink was her color. I had a bunch of pink shirts, and then I stopped using them because I don't want to give a vibe. But I had no clue. There were, I don't know, hundreds of people outside. It was that a big movement. And Aiden, Turtle Boy, I never heard about him before that. So I saw that he was very involved in this, and I recognized him from court. So I started looking into his work or his advocacy, I don't know. And
I mean, they brought the blogger into the situation with Lucky. Hank Brennan brought that up. And we knew that the people were going to be curious. So after the fact, of course, they're all going to go search and be like, okay, we're done being jurors. What is this Turtle Boy situation? If they weren't already familiar with Turtle Boy, they were going to go look it up. So it's funny that she was like, who is this Aiden Turtle Boy person and his advocacy?
Yeah, I didn't know it was that big. I mean, the judge said when she was picking us for the jury poll, it's a media case, it's a big case, but I had no clue that big, like national big.
Right. So when you were sitting in the courtroom, when the verdict came down,
When I
what
heard
was going through your mind, and what did you hear in there?
I heard just people outside, and that's when I started crying, because that people outside made the family of John O'Keefe feel very sad just hearing that. So that moment broke my heart. And then, I don't know, I just hope they find justice.
Is there anything that you would say to the O'Keefes if you saw them?
Yes, please keep fighting. We really don't think it was Karen Read. The investigation was floppy. Believe that. Look at yourself, and keep fighting to find who did this to him, because he seemed to be a very nice guy. His niece testified, friends testify, and we had no doubt that was unnecessary death. But it wasn't Karen Read, and let's find who did it.
Do you think the investigation was just sloppy, or do you think a potential cover-up with the police because he was a police officer?
I'm not going to say it's a cover-up, but was it sloppy? I would keep just being like sloppy and lazy, I would say too.
You hear that, Proctor? Lazy, and you lost your job, and you deserve it, right, F-Bomb? She's a very kind heart, and I heard her in multiple interviews mention the O'Keefe family and mention, Peggy O'Keefe. I don't know if she didn't say Peggy O'Keefe, but the mother, and how hard that is for her to, have lost her son. And we know Peggy O'Keefe, also lost, her daughter tragically. So her heart really hurts for this family, and the fact that she tears up and cries because she hears the cheering outside, and she knows that that is going to upset the O'Keefe family. So she's just, this is like, these people didn't ask for this. They weren't like, oh, I want to be a juror in this high profile case that's beyond fucked up that they brought back for a second trial. I want to be a part of a jury that includes a verdict slip that's so confusing, and the judge will do nothing to explain this to us or to make it better, because it's what they've always done, even though it doesn't work what they've always done. These people didn't want any of this. They didn't ask for this. They weren't like, put me on the jury so that I can, lie and, make Karen free. They're not getting any Karen Read being free prize. They just literally are seeing what a lot of us saw, is that this whole situation is sus. It's effed up. And ultimately, they could not prove that there's a collision. It's like saying, like, this person was shot with a pew-pew, and that's how they died. And everyone's saying that's, in fact, not how they died. So how are you going to charge someone with murdering with a pew-pew when the evidence does not point to the person passing away for that reason? It's ridiculous. And they did a shitty job. And that's just how it is.
But if it was a cover up, let's find out.
Is there something that really stood out when you were listening to some of the testimony? Like, wow, when you say sloppy or lazy, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
No reports. Like nobody made like an official report of like the GPS location of the evidence 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, the ring camera disappeared.
Hear that? Reports. Missing ring cameras, not investigating everywhere you should investigate. Immediately pointing to Karen Read when the evidence was not pointing that way. Inverted videos. Weird findings of extra evidence after you are in possession of the alleged murder weapon. It's weird.
Here. Oh yeah. No, this moment, like 2 minutes, we don't have the recording anymore. So all those coincidences doesn't make sense.
Butt dials. They didn't even need to hear butt dials. There's too many weird ass, yes, coincidences, too many things missing. The investigation sucks. The prosecution couldn't prove what it set out and said it was going to prove. That's it. That's all.
And
Did you guys ever talk about the dog or potential dog fights or anything like that?
We mentioned, I mean, you mean deliberation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we mentioned the dog, but not much. I mean, I think that's looked like a dog bite, but because it wasn't presented to us like more information about the dog and everything, we put our opinions aside and just, focus on the evidence that was actually there.
did you always believe, or do you believe that Karen Read is innocent? And did you always believe that from the moment you stepped in to be a juror to the moment that you walked?
No, I didn't know about the case. So when I first started, I thought maybe manslaughter because of the drink thing, that she was under influence overall. And but after the weeks passed by and the witnesses, and I just couldn't make her guilty.
Was there like a turning point, like a aha moment where you're like, okay, maybe she's not?
The Commonwealth witness judge, I forgot his name. Judge.
Oh shit, she's gonna bring up Blue Man Group, Judson Welcher. Oh, Judd, let's hear what she has to say about you.
Welcher?
Yeah, Derek.
Dr. Welcher.
Dr. Welcher.
Yeah. So Dr. Welcher, car accident reconstruction, seemed a little off. And
What? Not off. That's a really nice way to put it. Paula, that is really kind of you to put it that way. Off? It was off the rails, off the rip. It was dumb. Oh my God, Judson. Turns out painting yourself blue, buying a Lexus, painting yourself blue, running yourself into it, and then running it into you didn't prove anything. And wearing the same clothes as John wore didn't prove anything other than you're a little off.
Wow, they couldn't even prove that. So that moment was car accident reconstruction. It seemed a little off. And wow, they couldn't even prove that. So that moment was maybe an aha moment. Mm-hmm. And when ARCA came in and gave us such a good accident reconstruction to us, made sense.
Interesting.
Can you imagine if the jurors could have been privy to the fact that ARCA and the feds using ARCA and not this, weird, like you got paid by, the defense paid you to come in here and you're friends with Alan Jackson, whatever hanky panky was trying to push on them. But if they actually had the knowledge to know, like, no, ARCA came in with no bias either way or the feds to investigate this shit. And I know Hank wants to spin it into something it wasn't, but imagine if they would have known it was the FBI, because they were, Bev made it so they were unable to tell the jurors. I mean, now I'm sure a lot of them know, but that they were originally hired by the FBI. I mean, what? Yeah, we weren't the only ones that thought Judson Welcher was a cuckoo banana. The man painted the taillight and ran himself into a car dressed like John O'Keefe, costing the taxpayer $400,000. Like Karen Read's dad says, Mr. Read, the Commonwealth had unlimited funds because they were just charging all of the taxpayers. They're just charging the people for all this bullshit. So they could do these dumb experiments that just made them look ridiculous. Can they get a refund? I wish. Oh my gosh. Kelly says, I think at least some of them figured out it was the FBI after Kelly. Yes, after Kelly Deaver's testimony. Kelly Deva. Hi, Powell. For sure. We'll see if bombs. But yeah, give the taxpayers back their money.
Is there anything else?
So before this trial, so last year, you never heard of the Karen Read trial before?
No, I moved here February last year. So I think you guys were talking a lot about it. I saw billboards, I saw some yard signs, free Karenread, but I was never curious to look to see what was it. I love crime, I love true crime, to listen to podcasts, but mainly in Brazil, mainly things that happens over there. So I'm not involved with social media, local news in the US. So I really didn't know much about Karenread. I just know her face and her billboard.
Interesting. Yeah. And what did you think about her presence in the courtroom? I know people have looked at her as like kind of cool, calm, collected, or showing little emotion at times. So I don't know what your perception of her is or was, or how it evolved.
I did expect more emotion. I was looking like, she doesn't cry, she doesn't move, she's just so calm and so present. But she was fighting for her life, and I'm not judging. It's the way that she found herself in that horrible situation, and she needed to fight. And so good for her that she had the presence to do that.
So at first she's even saying, hey, we didn't like Karen Read. Like, she didn't come off as likable. But as time went on, we realized that she's fighting for her life. And she kind of respected that and respected that fight within Karen Read. Destination New York says, it's Deva. It's Denver. It's Cassidy Denver. Kelly Deva, Denver. John Denver's distant relative. Kara says, okay, reporters, that's enough questions. Y'all are asking some petty they need to a little more interesting. I want to know more from these jurors, more of what they thought regarding like you guys were saying in the chat, regarding Bev, regarding Hank. Did Hank's likability, speaking of Karen's likability, did Hanky Booty Stank, did his likability or lack thereof affect, how they viewed things within the trial and how they, viewed the prosecution? I saw that interview. Yeah, in another interview she did, she grew to like admire Karen. And I think that's something that, women know all too well, is there's never, you can never kind of do the right thing in these situations. She's crying too much. She's not crying enough. She's dressing too slutty. She's not dressing slutty enough. She's, you know what I mean? Women, we're kind of used to that since the jump, that we're criticized for shit that we're like, what? So I think with Karen Read, it's like, why does she have to be pleasant and likable when she's literally being charged with a crime that she didn't commit? That she's saying, I 100% did not do this. And these people are coming at her and about to take everything from her, her job, her retirement, her home, her money. She lives with her parents now. She's got to fight. She's not through one trial. She's got 2 trials, So who's going to come in and be like, are you going to cry every day? Or do you have to like focus and fight? So I don't know. Would the same standards be held to a dude? Probably not. But they want her to be like, oh. Well, then she was crying too much. They would probably just tell her, they would probably say about her, oh, see, she's guilty. That's why she cries so much, because she's guilty. Because you see people on Twitter and they're like, she's laughing, or she made a face, or this or that. Well, yeah, after 3 years of this bullshit and your life is on the line, you're going to make a face. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. Debbie says, I heard that Hank took this gig because he wants to run for DA. So much for that. Oof. Ooh. Brian says, I really think Shannon's 17-year degree. He's still working on that bachelor's degree. Burgess helped flip the jury. The defense rode through him like a Mustang in a Montana meadow. Oh, so poetic. So beautiful. Bev, short for beverage. Just get the beverages. It's the bottles and James. Yes. Cabra says, I don't want some of these asshole reporters, especially the ones from Massachusetts, trying to ask gotcha questions. We can go, gotcha. We got him. All right. And then the juror, the TMZ guy.
Jason, the jury.
Let's take a look at him. Jason. I don't know. TMZ might strike me, though. Should we risk it? Because his was, I mean, he did a good job just answering questions for Harvey. But he wasn't going to give more. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like he wants to totally spill. So let me know if you guys want me to, if we should play that, take the risk. Yeah, Harvey is. I'm a lawyer. Harvey Levin from TMZ. But that was juror number, what was he, number 4? I think I said that. We'll risk it. We'll risk it. If the video goes down, I'll take it out and put it back up. So if you're watching this later and it disappears from the video, it's because they struck me. All right. Harvey.
Found Karen Read not guilty on murder and manslaughter. Was it because they had reasonable doubt or because they thought she was innocent?
So I think for the jurors, there's a mix of some people think that she was definitely innocent, and the other people, there was a lot of reasonable doubt, at least to where we didn't want to convict her.
That's really interesting. So could you give me a breakdown there? Roughly what percentage of the jury felt she was innocent?
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think that she was innocent. It's hard to tell exactly what people think deep down. There was a lot of things thrown at us, of evidence. So it's hard to tell what's really.
So you say
this is like a fetus juror. He's just a little baby juror. He's just so young. I feel like he's in his mom and dad's house. It's probably his house. But there's pictures up in the back. And I'm like, is he at his mom and dad's? He just looks so young.
Of evidence. So it's hard to tell what's really.
So you say in your head she was innocent. Does that mean you think she was framed by people inside that house?
It doesn't necessarily mean that. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to John. Really, I was.
Also, it's not the juror's job to find out what happened or to even speculate on what happened. All they're there to do is judge by the cases that are, delivered to them and the evidence that's shown. Do you believe beyond a reasonable doubt the person is guilty or not guilty?
Only presented a limited scope of what happened at the night, and I can only base my.
When he says limited scope, I see some people like judging that, being like, limited scope, they showed so much. No, they didn't. Bev shut down so much shit, and there's so much stuff that they did not get to see. So it's limited to what the Commonwealth, what Bev is willing to allow, which didn't seem to be everything. So I understand what he's saying. Like, we just saw a limited, they didn't even, this trial, we didn't get all the same witnesses, so yeah, it's a limited scope.
My opinion off of the evidence that was shown in the courtroom. So I don't really know if there was a cover up or not. I know that's the big conspiracy about it, but I don't really know. All I know is that there was a lot of holes in the investigation. Whether they were deliberate holes or not deliberate holes, it's kind of hard from me sitting back to know that, what actually happened.
So what was the feeling of the jury? Because Alan Jackson and the other lawyers raised the issue that she was framed by cops and that they would have turned that house upside down if they really wanted to do an honest investigation, and that he was not hit by a car. He was attacked in that house, bitten by a dog, and then put outside to frame her. Did people on the jury, or some of them, buy that argument?
I think some of them bought that argument. It's just hard to tell, though, because whether or not we think that there was malicious intent, we were only presented with the facts that they didn't go into the house. So, there's an example of reasonable doubt. So, like, there's other examples of reasonable doubt. So even if you want to completely buy into the theory or not, that wasn't what we were tasked with. We were tasked with finding, convicting, or deciding on this person's fate based on the proof and the evidence that the Commonwealth was able to present. And there was a lot of holes in the investigation.
Yet
Holes. Yes, that's on you, Proctor. Leaky balloon knot. That's you, bro. Lots of holes. Lots of holes.
went many steps beyond that because you say, in your view, she was innocent. What compels you to think that?
Well, one thing that I think that compels me is we did a lot of review of the tapes, and it seemed to me that the videos that we could see from the car after the alleged incident happened, that when we could see the taillight, it was lit up red where it shouldn't just have been red. So that leads to me a conclusion of, well, how come it's red in this video after the alleged collision happened, and then it's not, it doesn't have any red pieces where it should be red.
So in other words, you do not believe that SUV made contact with John O'Keefe?
I don't believe that the SUV collided with John O'Keefe.
What was the initial vote with the jury when you first took your vote?
We didn't do an initial.
Again, him mentioning the taillight, the taillight, the taillight, the taillight. If we want to repeat things in threes. And they were like, the taillight was still red. Why was it still red? You guys said it wasn't going to be red. It was going to be broken out. What's going on? What's happening? The taillight, the taillight, the taillight. So they're looking at the evidence that's provided in both of the claims from prosecution and defense. And they're like, what the prosecution's saying isn't making sense because the taillight is still lighting up red. So how did Proctor find 17,000 pieces of red taillight?
Straw poll. The judge recommended to us in the courtroom that is not a good way to do it. We broke down what we did is we broke down each charge, and we went from top to bottom and discussed everything thoroughly, and did our best to do right by the Karen Read and the Commonwealth.
Was there a division initially?
Yeah, there was a division. But that's what we're there to deliberate and talk about all the evidence. There was 2 months of us sitting there, them throwing all this information at us absorbing the information, going home, thinking about it, reviewing it in our heads, and we get to the deliberations, and now we have an opportunity to discuss. Some people went into the deliberations and they were still unsure after two months. And that makes sense because there was a lot of things going on. There's a lot of information. How much can you weigh one thing or another thing over, Yeah.
What about
poor little guy looks so nervous. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, sir.
Jurors who felt initially she was guilty? Were there any of them?
Yeah, there were a few jurors that think that had thought that initially when they went into the deliberations, that was their standpoint, and that's what we were there to do, to talk through all that and bring up every single piece of evidence. Is there an angle of reasonable doubt to where we're not really sure? Like, are you really sure? Are you 100% or are you 99.9%? If you're that 99%, we can't convict you.
What brought?
Damn, 50K, TMZ. Should have asked for 100.
The ones who felt she was guilty over to the not guilty side. Was there anything in particular that seemed to resonate with them?
It's hard to tell from my position. You'd have to ask them about it. But in my opinion, I think it was just due to the poor investigation. There's just too many holes, and it's hard to prove that the collision happened. So if there's reasonable doubt that happened, or that there may have been foul play, if there's room for that, then it's hard to come to a guilty verdict.
What happened when the jury initially said they had a verdict and then said, oops, no, we don't, and then 15 minutes later they said, oh, we do? What happened there?
So that actually is kind of interesting. So the envelope, it was sealed and it's locked away. It'll never be looked at.
I like this little guy because he gets his little sass. He's like, well, that's pretty interesting. I like the little neck movement there.
But on everything on that initial slip was the same as the slip that was presented.
The one that Bev put in a labia. She sealed it shut and put in a labia, allegedly. He said it's the same as what we gave after.
But why did they pull it back?
The pulling the back was for the OUI charge.
There was driving under the influence, essentially, drunk driving.
Yes, driving under the.
Which is exactly what everybody thought. There was confusion, and Bev won't answer the questions because she said it's theoretical or hypothetical, but I'm going to say theoretical.
Influence. We in our deliberations, we had decided there was enough evidence and proof that she was driving under the influence. And
So,
yeah, that's it.
How did the defense do? How did the lawyers do, in your view? Her lawyers.
For her lawyers specifically, I think they all did. I think that all the lawyers on both sides did a really good job.
These jury members are so kind, because you ask me and I'm like, Hank did a shitty job. He sucked. Didn't work. Proved nothing. Shitty. Bev, too much letting the prosecution get away with shit. She seemed really anti-defense, really anti-Karen Read over there, really anti-justice. But these guys are so nice. They're like, everyone did a really good job.
They presented their case as well.
The police, you say the investigation was poor. The defense said it was more than poor. It was corrupt.
Oh my God, Proctor, take a listen. The world is watching, and your investigation sucked. You suck, sir. You can't get your job back. You suck at it. You're bad at it.
Corrupt, and they pointed to the lead detective who had been fired, didn't testify in your trial. Did that have an impact? And did you think it was a corrupt police investigation?
Do I think it was a corrupt police investigation? I don't know. There's no way for me to know. I wasn't there. There was just, there was holes in the case that left for reasonable doubt. I think they could have checked some boxes or done some things differently. But do I know that they were corrupt? Absolutely not. I don't know that there was any corruption going on. But do I know that there wasn't enough proof or evidence secured by the police to convict Karen Read? Absolutely not. There was not.
Fair to say that your view was that her SUV did not make contact with O'Keefe, therefore she did not kill him, but you don't know how he died.
I would say that's fair to say. I don't know how John O'Keefe died, and I do not believe that there was a collision between the SUV and John O'Keefe.
Jason, really appreciate the time. I do want to ask one other thing. Did all of the hoopla around the case, the people outside, did it give you comfort in reaching a verdict like this, that you saw there was a community behind your point of view, or was it irrelevant?
Honestly, that made the pressure a lot harder, and it did not give me comfort. It made it a lot harder to block out everything and come to a decision.
Why did it make it harder?
It made it harder because all of the eyes are on us. We were told we're the most important people in the courtroom, and they keep us away from the crowds of people in the front of the courthouse. But we do see them, and I don't think that having all those people swayed me to go either way. We were only tasked with looking at the evidence. We were 12 jurors. We had to back up how we felt in this for our decision, and we couldn't let any outside factors, her punishment. We couldn't factor any of that. We had to look at the evidence that was presented to us, absorb it, really understand it, and see if there's any reasonable doubt. And there was.
Jason, thank you so much for spending some time.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious. I mean, if any of them are going to say, oh yeah, we didn't notice anything, any free Karen Read stuff, any Justice for John O'Keefe stuff, of course. But our job is to look at the evidence, which is what we did, to see if there's reasonable doubt. If there's reasonable doubt, there's reasonable doubt. Okay, we can't make this lady guilty. That's not our job. Leah says, I heard he was one of the jurors that got moved for talking too much. Oh no. Well, I did. I listened to a little bit of Turtle Boy last night. I didn't get to get close to finishing the stream at all. But he was saying that, when Paul O'Keefe, when he got moved to the back row, allegedly, according to Turtle Boy, it was because one of the jurors, one of the young women on the jury, were like, he's giving me weirdo eyes. He's making me feel uncomfortable. He's checking me out. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Paul O'Keefe, not the church boy himself. You mean this guy? This guy who in the first trial allegedly had a side piece online that he was giving signals to during his brother's murder trial. Really? This guy? So they moved him. I'm like, that makes sense. Oh, God, sir, get it together. Get right. It was so creepy. Why are you so creepy? Sir. Oh, my gosh. But yeah, a lot of stuff is going to continue to come out and has come out, obviously, since the trial has finally come to a conclusion. And as people move on with their lives, whatever that looks like for all the parties involved in this case, oof, rough. We'll see, you guys. But I wanted to go over those interviews. I do want to see if there's more to this McAlbert interview, because that was just like a really lame interview that Brian Albert pretty much led. We didn't even hear much from Jen McCabe, which was a shocker. And I love how they're trying to spin it with Nicole Albert being like, and just so you know, don't testify because they'll attack you. What? No, we're not doing that. We're not going to be blaming all the content creators and the bloggers and the conspiracy theories. You guys are a whole conspiracy theory yourselves. Like everything you have said, all the butt dials, all that shit. But you want to act like the public watching you spew bullshit and sus things revolving this case, and the contradictions, and just so sus that somehow we're conspiracy theorists when you literally are expecting us to not believe that searches occurred on your phone when your phone says it occurred, that phone calls were made, were just butt dials, and all of you people together were just butt dialing like crazy, that you wouldn't go out on the lawn when you've changed your stories multiple times, that we see the weird text exchanges telling the guy never went in the house. I'm going to miss the basketball game. But it's your super good friend. When the FBI had to come in to get a hold of Proctor's text, Higgins' text, to get a hold of Jen McCabe, searches on the phone, things like that. But somehow we're the weirdos. They're trying to put it back on the public for questioning something that clearly is very messed up and clearly is really sus. No, that's not going to work. No, thank you. I have heard that. Sarge says, did anyone else hear the rumor about the Alberts being swingers? I'll tell you, Brian Albert looks like the type. I'm just going to say it. Allegedly. For comedic purposes. Okay. He looks like the type, because it's never the type you want to swing. You're like, oh, that must be all like sexy people. No offense, all offense, but no. Objection. No look shaming Brian Albert. Overruled. We're doing it all today. We're doing it all. Yeah, lying to the FBI. Come on. It's like the upside down pineapples for the swingers. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard, and it wouldn't surprise me. Nothing would surprise me, unfortunately, with these people. They have like major gaslighting going on here. We're the problem. Okay. Sure. All right. You guys are wonderful, beautiful pumpkin spice babies. I appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to my mod. Shout out to everyone who joined in the chat. Thank you to all my super chatters today. Easy for me to say. Oliver Bolivar, Shauna Michelle, welcome Cats Hate Cult and Graphics to the membership. Upon the Wire, thank you for the super chat. Leah, welcome to the membership. And yes, Jan, Alessi was fierce, Giannetti was skillful, and Jackson was charismatic and passionate. And don't forget Eliza Little. She was the hot, the strength, the beauty. He's pretty freaky looking. But in this interview, if you watch the interview, it looks like he put on a little bit of concealer. April, congrats on getting a membership. It was probably from Graphics. She gifted 5 memberships. Graphics designer did. So welcome. Yes, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the like, leave a comment, After the video post, if you're watching on the replay crew, hello, put a disco ball emoji in the comment section so I know that you made it to the end of this video on the replay crew. I'll be back very soon with another video. But until then, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye.
If you like what you see,